He should go, he should do his service, and then whatever you get, you will be satisfied with that. So that culture is there. Because once you start demanding it, depletes one's Brahminical progress.
Yes.
And also you can't do it as a service.
Ask him.
Not a service, one becomes bound when one gets, one demands. It's like a person may say, no, I'll give you 10,000 rupees or 20,000 or 50,000 rupees. You have to do the whole yajna in half an hour. If somebody is selfless, he would say, no, get lost, I don't want money. I can't do it in half an hour. But once a person is greedy, he is bound. So Brahmana is a free man. It's like he is ready to perform austerities, and that is why nobody gives him any money, he is happy. So only such a people can be the Brahmana. So that's why it's not artificial. Artificial one cannot become Brahmana. Only one who has that qualification of Brahmana can be Brahmana. So Brahmanas, we find so many Brahmanas like being troubled by hunger and thirst. Why was it like that? It was like that because situations do come like that. You find in the case of Sudama, like children are wailing and crying, Dronachar not having enough milk for Aswathama. So these things do come for Brahmanas. And that is called emergency. When such emergencies come, then he can do the work of Vaishya. But when he goes for yajna, he should not demand. If there is an emergency, you can't maintain your family, you can't maintain life, better go and do some business. But when it comes to Brahmanical process, we should not charge. It's like that's an ideal thing. Now on a practical level, institution is doing is a different thing. But individually as a grasta, somebody does that, that's an ideal thing. So that's what Prabhupada expected. Now we are not in that position and we should try to come to that position or that level. But that is the standard which Prabhupada has set. So it's tough, it's not easy. That's why not everybody can be Brahmana.
But that money, if he takes as charity, I know he's not compromising, but he's taking as charity. Brahmanas are allowed to take charity. So that money, whatever they are offering, he's taking it as a charity. And using it for his own maintenance.
See, they are different with Dan and Dakshina. Dan is endowed with karma. Dan means you don't do anything, somebody comes and gives you charity, gives money or goods. Then you get karma. But Dakshina is not contaminated because you have rendered service. That is, Brahmana is not a beggar. No grasta is supposed to beg. Sannyasis can beg. Brahmacharis can beg on the behalf of Guru. But Brahmana is never supposed to beg. Brahmana renders his service, and as a result of service, he gets charity. So such charity is totally pure. That purity, that charity is not at all contaminated. But Dan is contaminated. So that's why you don't do any service and somebody comes and it's like gives charity. It's more dangerous. And I have seen Brahmanas, those are traditional Brahmanas, smart Brahmanas, they many times don't accept. I know one Brahmana, he's a first class astrologer. He doesn't like expect any money. Some people sit him for 4 or 5 hours and hardly give any money, maybe 40, 50 rupees and that's all. It is 5 hours. So he's satisfied with that. And many times people want to come and give charity, he doesn't accept the charity. There are consequences for that. So anything which comes as a return for like service, then that's no problem. That's why when brahmacharis go out for house programs, they should do some program. Not only just to go, eat nicely, have a belch, nicely digest the food, prasadam, take money in our pocket and go away.
That's karma also. They never give charity and take charity. That is Brahmana.
So that's why when one goes like that, go do some kirtan, speak something. If people can't speak, then at least do some kirtans. Then you get charity and you come, that's good. Not like just going, not doing anything and eating and coming.
Dan makes charity without performing any service.
Any service.
Charity, Vamana gave time he explained to the Bani Maharaj, your father not really giving charity. There is some things he want, he give for that purpose. The charity, you say dana, in darshana is a different.
thing.
Yes, true.
So dakshina is pure.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not a test. Sometimes you do so much service and hardly other person gives anything, although he is wealthy. And sometimes it happens that person is not very wealthy, you do little bit service and sometimes you get so much charity. But Brahman is supposed to be satisfied. That's the way. Many times I personally have gone to some certain programs where you don't get enough money for traveling expenses also. You see?
Yeah, true.
And it's like now you go by bus, then you take a train, and then you take a boat and do this and do that, and in 2 hours you go to his place, spend so much money there, and you go to do program and come back. And no, there are 5-6 brahmacharis with you, you spend 1,000 rupees and this fellow gives the charity of 101. And you come back. What to do? It's like, so it's very difficult to come up. Life of Brahman is not easy. Let us come back to our this famous verse. तिरस्कृता विप्रलब्धा सप्ता चित्ता तावपि नास्य तत्प्रतिकुर्वन्ति तद्भक्ता प्रभवोऽपि easy translation.
The devotees of the Lord are so forbearing that even though they are defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected, or even killed, they are never inclined to avenge themselves.
Very difficult. Let's read the purport.
Rishi Samik also knew that the Lord does not forgive a person who has committed an offense at the feet of a devotee. The Lord can only give direction to take shelter of the devotee. He thought within himself that if Maharaj Parikshit would counter-curse the boy, he might be saved. But he knew also that a pure devotee is careless about worldly advantages or reverses. As such, the devotees are never inclined to counteract personal defamation, curse, negligence, etc. As far as such things are concerned in personal affairs, the devotees do not care for them. But in the case of their being performed against the Lord and his devotee, then the devotees take very strong action. It was a personal affair, and therefore Samik Rishi knew that the king would not take counteraction. Thus, there was no alternative than to place an appeal to the Lord for the immature boy. It is not that only the Brahmanas are powerful enough to award curse or blessing upon the subordinates. The devotee of the Lord, even though he may not be a Brahman, is more powerful than a Brahman. But a powerful devotee never misuses the power for personal benefit. Whatever power the devotee may have is always utilized in service toward the Lord and his devotees only.
Yes. So, Prabhupada writes here that he knew that king will not counteract. When Kali, personality of Kali was trying to kill the cow, Parikshit was very strong. He wanted to kill the personality of Kali. But when it came to him own, Samik Rishi knew that he will not act. He is not going to take a revenge. And that is why he knew, because he is not taking revenge, who is going to take it very seriously? Krishna is going to take it very seriously. So that is why he was praying to the Supreme Lord. And although Parikshit Maharaj had power, in the last paragraph Prabhupada writes, that he could have counteracted, he could have cursed back, but he never did. Okay, now we'll take very quick quiz. We have to see when each of these things happened for a devotee and he didn't respond back. Defamation. Srivastava. Who tried to defame?
The Kali worshippers.
Gopal Chappal.
Gopal.
Yes, Kali worshippers. Gopal Chappal. Cheated.
Prabhupada.
Yes, Prabhupada was cheated. So, who cheated him?
That
Prabhupada.
medical.
D.
Mr. and Nair and this and that.
Even
Bombay.
Joe Temple, but before also in his life.
Yes. So many times he was like,
Customers.
customers cheated him, so many things. So when customer cheated him, Prabhupada was not angry. Mr. N cheated, he was actually not cheating Prabhupada, he was cheating Krishna. Prabhupada was very angry.
Chris.
Yes. So Prabhupada nursing Dev. Nursing Dev medicine. Cursed. Who was cursed?
Chitriketu.
Chitraketu, yes. And here Parichit Maharaj also. Disturbed. You can say that. It was more than disturbance. Neglected. And it is like very small. Night of the neglected. It happens with many devotees also. It's like after some time your friends start neglecting you as if you don't exist. Killed. Dadichi, yes. Who tried to kill?
No, the bones that he asked, give him bones, that's like it.
Yes. Who else? Very famous example.
Vitrasura was killed,
Prahlad
but he did not.
Yes, Vitrasura was encouraging to be killed.
Yes,
The other way around. Prahlad Maharaj. He was trying to be killed. Who else? Amrish Maharaj.
Yes.
So all these people, they was all trying to kill.
True, but we see the case of Pandavas. Something happened, him all take go revenge. Finish. Draupadi is showing here, go. So it's.
You see, Draupadi, Bhima became angry when Draupadi was getting destroyed. Because this is a devotee. What is a Bhima? Krishna did the whole Mahabharata war because Draupadi was getting destroyed. But when personally Bhima was given poison and thrown, Bhima didn't come and took revenge.
He did not have that in his heart.
Ah.
That I'll kill Duryodhana and Drishta.
No.
That's because Draupadi was.
Because Draupadi was destroyed, that is why he took the revenge. Not a time when Bhima was given poison and thrown in the lake. So that's a Vaishnava behavior. So Vaishnavas were personal, this they don't take revenge.
Disturbed and neglected, I could not get some much.
Disturbed means,
No, that's like example which you said, so I couldn't get some example.
see, neglected means you will find in the case of a, why neglected is not given, it happens very often.
Dukhi. Dukhi.
Dukhina was neglected, you can say, by devotees only. She was in background, that's not the exact example. But we find that outsiders neglect. When generally somebody wants to become a devotee, he has to go through few stages. First, your friends and relatives, they disturb you. Hey, how can you do that? Such a nice boy, he would make so many jokes, do all sorts of nonsense. Now he has become Hare Krishna. So they disturb like anything. I had big friend circle when I was studying in my college. So as soon as I became devotee within 1-2 weeks only. But these were my friends who were there from school. We all came to IIT together. So they, I had to run from the ground floor because if they catch me, they'll beat me. So they were really angry how he became Hare Krishna. But after some time, you continue practicing Krishna consciousness. What they do? Second stage is they neglect. As if you don't exist. If you tolerate that also, then they start appreciating. There must be some principles. That's why this person is still practicing Krishna consciousness. And then last thing is that they follow.
Yeah?
Follow. So I know, many of my classmates, they start chanting and this and that. What a big course, they saw all 4 years. So there's the 4th stage. So 2 stages everybody has to tolerate. Being disturbed, being neglected. Of course, we are not so pure that Krishna has to take the test by trying to be killed. That happened with Prabhupada. David tried to kill him. So for only pure souls that is applicable.
Even Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj also, they want to kill him.
Yes. He was tried to be killed. Ramanujacharya and Kuresh,
Yes.
they were about to be killed by this. What was the name? Kulatunga. I don't remember his name. King Kulatunga.
No, the king of the Chola.
Chola dynasty.
But Prabhupada also, they want to kill.
Huh?
Prabhupada. One story, Prabhupada disciple says that somebody to bring knife want to kill Prabhupada.
David.
See the intelligence of Prabhupada is scared. He threw away. Then next week come and surrender to Prabhupada, be a devotee. You don't know who's
David was there.
Okay, David tried to kill.
But he did
No,
not-
you are confusing with another incident. This incident happened with Prabhupada disciples. That is after Prabhupada departed, 1978 in June. So that time Giriraj Maharaj was giving a class. So just he already stabbed one devotee outside. And who stabbed is a devotee only because they did black magic on him. So they did black magic and sent him there,
hypnotized.
hypnotized. So in hypnotism he was doing that, and after he came into front of Giriraj Maharaj, then whole hypnotism broke and then he came to his senses. He was giving Bhagavatam class at that time. So ISKCON, all sort of things are there, histories are there. Yes. 49.
Such those regretted the sin committed by his own son. He did not take the insult paid by the king very seriously.
Yeah. So he personally, Samagrisi's example is also very, very remarkable. So he himself didn't took the insult towards himself very seriously, but he was severely lamenting for what his son had did. Parikshit Maharaj, he didn't take the curse very seriously, but he took the he was regretting for what he did with Samagrisi. So that is a Vaishnava behavior. Vaishnava behavior means I was guilty. And materialistic behavior is you are guilty, you are guilty. It is just opposite. So spiritual life somehow is just opposite. Outside world they fight for property, my property. Ram and Lakshman, no, your property. They are fighting other way. Outside world they say no, I didn't get enough respect. People are fighting. Vaishnava circle, no, they want to give respect to each other. One of the famous fights in Brahmacharya Ashram is that when people touch each other's feet. You saw that?
Yeah.
Like very common fight. One of the Brahmachari in temple, he even broke his leg. Trying to catch each other's feet. So it's giving respect to other way. Of course, that is not encouraged. Or not devotees steal each other's Mahaprasad and run away. It's a different type of fight. प्रयासा साधवो लोके परे द्वन्द्वेषु योजिता नाव्यथन्ति न हृष्यन्ति यत् आत्मा अगुणाश्रयः. Please read translation, Prabhu.
Generally, the transcendentalists, even though engaged by the other in the dualities of the material world, are not distressed, nor do they take a pleasure in worldly things, for they are transcendentally engaged. The transcendentalists are the empiric philosopher and mystic and the devotee of the Lord. Empiric philosopher aim at the perfections and of merging into the beings of the Absolute. Mystic aim at the perceived, the all-providing super soul, and the devotee of the Lord are engaged in the transcendental living service of the personality of body. Since Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan are different phases of the same transcendental, all these transcendentalists are beyond the three moods of material nature. Material distress and happiness are product of three moods, and therefore the cause of such a material distress and happiness have nothing to do with the transcendentalist. The king was a devotee and the Rishi was a mystery. Therefore, both of them were unattached to the accidental incident created by the supreme will. Their playful child was an instrument in fulfill the Lord will.
Yeah. So both king, who was a devotee, and Rishi, who was a yogi, both of them were not disturbed. They saw that now somehow this Sringi was instrument for this incident to happen.
We only disturb.
Yeah. So we become disturbed to the degree we are in three modes of materialism. We find as the age progresses, things change. As the devotees progress in spiritual life. You will find new brahmacharis, such a fascination for prasad. So sometimes some devotees who never stood in whole life, they start stealing Mahaprasad. It was like, and Mahaprasad, so many pastimes in ISKCON, no end. So many times, like New Vrindavan, there was they would give Mahaprasad in a locker. And one devotee used a bomb to blast and open the lock and get Mahaprasad. In our temple also, Mahaprasad locker is like,
Brother?
huh?
What is that?
So they have CCTV just above the Mahaprasad, where the Mahaprasad is kept. And still devotees find so many reasons. So one time one devotee came with a book carton over his head and kept it just in front of another devotee went, broke the law and took Mahaprasad and
What is that? Bank में
locker. And so many doors, it's like so many things happened. That lock is the most temporary lock. The lock which is there on the Mahaprasad Elmira. So Mahaprasad is like, but as the age progresses, then it's not, devotees don't like, why? Even if you don't get it. So
They take only boils.
no, sometimes the reason is that you spoil your health. But even if you don't spoil the health, we have seen like after some time the heart becomes content. Even if you have Mahaprasad with you, another devotee is not having, not like we take Mahaprasad. Initial days, such a fascination for Mahaprasad. Whole world looks like to be made of Mahaprasad. Things change. So it's not safe. Of course, yeah. So this is like, so this is a good lesson for very inspirational. So what was the response of Parikshit Maharaj and Samik Rishi? One more question comes is, why did Parikshit Maharaj didn't go and clarify? Go and clarify. This is one famous question which people ask.
Took as the will of the Lord.
I mean, he didn't clarify with Shamik Rishi.
No, Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj could have gone to Samik Rishi and
Yeah, so he would have felt ashamed, right? Because his son did this cursing.
So that's the exact reason. Because already Samik Rishi was lamenting like anything that Sringi had did such a sin, such a curse. And actually he had sent one messenger also. He sent a messenger to say to Parikshit Maharaj that you are cursed to die in 7 days. So Parikshit Maharaj was thinking, if I go to Samik Rishi will fall at my feet and beg forgiveness. That's why Parikshit Maharaj didn't go for forgiveness. So otherwise general rule is that you fall at the feet of the devotee and beg forgiveness. But then things are not black and white. So devotees are sensitive. So that's the reason Parikshit Maharaj didn't go. So now what we'll do? It's 12, we'll take 10 minutes break and then we'll go to the next chapter. So hopefully we'll complete in 2 hours. It also has many verses. We'll try
We speak too much about prasadams.
Oh. No, I spoke about tolerance also. But still we'll give it if it goes beyond 2.
Yeah. Mahaprasad free.
You do not tolerate, there's Mahaprasad with us. I am not attached. I took a lot of Mahaprasad.
Oh, really?
All my Mahaprasad sweet quota got covered in 1 year. I ate so much sweets.
Now you don't eat.
Then after that, almost for 2 years, I didn't take sweet. Bhog and Tyag. I was like a Sangeetan in charge. We had stairs. Just below the stair, there was this locker of Mahaprasad. And all the cameras were, display was in my room only. And I would keep only one channel on, that was Mahaprasad camera. So as soon as Mahaprasad would come, I would jump down, Pujari would just go for 1 minute. Within 1 year, I would certain things would disappear. I would take them on my hand. But after 1 year, Krishna gave me a lot of detachment. Karma. All my pious credits for sweets went away.
There's a war always after the festival, Janmashtami or Mahaprasad. After disappear from Puja.
The usual etiquette normally is the one who cooks or help. It should be the last
Yeah.
to take. So,
I don't know, generally many devotees do that also. Even I try to do that. Because then it's like we serve with that service attitude.
yes.
Especially when we have regular service, if we have like a desire to eat something, then that contamination goes while cooking and serving.
Yes.
So best thing is like you don't eat, you know you are doing selfless service. You are serving for Krishna's pleasure.
Yeah.
Otherwise that contamination, what will I get after Mahaprasad? Bhoga job.
We have we don't have the right to take intoxicant, but sugar is kind of addictive as well.
But generally our Acharya don't define it as an intoxicant. Maybe because earlier ages sugar was not there. Earlier people would consume jaggery. So at least.
Jaggery is not intoxicant. I don't know, if I see Gur Rasgulla, I feel like eating more.
No, that is a different thing. Intoxication means it has an intoxicating effect. Your mind starts reeling and it doesn't work.
Sugar does, no?
Yeah, actually whatever it turns into alcohol, when it is not, see even when we are tired, there is alcohol release in the body. So we learned that in chemistry. Incomplete combustion. So that's there. Very simple thing is Mahajano Yengata Sapat. Whatever Acharya has spoken, you just follow that. It's like very difficult to put it.
Good answer.
Otherwise, many things like even within ISKCON,
Chocolate.
like we have this Kalonji. Kalonji is there. Which I showed you, na?
Karoji?
It is a-
Kalonji.
Kalonji is a part of Panchphoran here in Bengal. Like today we put in Puri, the black one.
Oh, Kalaji.
Oh, Kalan, yeah.
Kalaji.
Yeah.
Grace.
Yes. So now that's like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that it is in mode of ignorance. It's inedible.
Kalaji.
That's why in North India, like in our family, we didn't used to consume onion garlic. So then we didn't used to take this Kalonji. So when my mother came for first time in ISKCON, and she was, oh, you're so angry. You fellow, she was saying, you follow 40 principles. You don't follow 40 principles. And she was really very strong. But then it's like, if you don't eat it, you can't stay in Aswan devotees in Bengal. If I want to stay in Calcutta, Assam, I have to eat it. So Mahajana will get us.
Vishnu Chakravarti mentions that. Then so Masoor dal I know in Bengal, we know from birth that it is a non-vegetarian item.
Yeah,
What about North also is the same?
North we don't take.